of my clients between my account and Ryan's account that have more than one peptide. My own personals, like up to like almost 80% of my clients are on more than one peptide. And that's because I stack a bunch of peptides. So I feel very comfortable telling people, wait a minute, if you're going to start on this, you might want to think about also adding this at the same time. I feel very comfortable doing that. It doesn't feel like an upsell to me because I know the power of these peptides when they're stacked together and how much they've helped and healed my body. So I want you guys to feel more comfortable to be able to do that because you're going to not only help people, but you're going to help your volume too, which is a double plus. So I'm going to be quiet and let Leanne and Dr. Wagner take over.
Hi. So I wanted to piggyback what Blair said too. So that's the same thing with me is like, even I share a lot on social media, and so my social media is like my diary. And I personally use a lot more than one peptide. And so sharing that and me using that, I think it's helped a lot with my clients and my customers to be able to share that also. And so I just wanted to say too, I recommend that if you aren't if you're only using one peptide, to try another one out so you can be a walking testimony. So I think that's the reason why I have so much, conviction and able to share the things that I share is because using that. And I know I would say mine is like over 80% of my people are using more than one because they ask me, what are you taking? And then I'm able to share my story. So the same thing with you is if you're not, if you're just having one, then add another one in. And so you can be able to share your testimony also. So I've got some great questions here and some that people have asked with some scenarios I wanted to ask Dr. Wagner. Let me see, is he on?
I'm here.
Okay, there you are. I couldn't see you. So, okay.
I am so sorry. Hold on. Beth, can you just hit record? Oh, it already is recording.
It's recording.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you the scenarios that some people have sent and then some that Blair and I talked about. And then you can just give like an easy, like what you would suggest and stack and why.
Okay.
Okay. So one scenario is someone has started out with the GLP-1, but they have some significant gut health issues. What would be the next logical peptide to stack in that scenario?
If it's specifically gut issues, my default is going to be the BPC 157 plus that TV 500. Because BPC, again, remember, it comes specifically from the gastric juice of your body. So it's going to address a lot of gut issues that are going on. It's hard to say though, without actually knowing, is it gut inflammation? Is it gut dysbiosis? Like, what is this specific gut issue that they're dealing with? Do we know a little bit more information about that?
No. You want to just give a little bit on either one?
Yeah, so I mean, if it's more gut inflammation, the BPC is going to be good. Even if it is dysbiosis, BPC is still going to help calm that down. They're going to have to do obviously some more protocols. If it's more gut dysbiosis, the BPC alone is not going to help, but it can bring some relief to that issue. So anytime you think gut, think like BPC 157, TB 500. That's always related to gut. Also, musculoskeletal issues, think BPC 157, TB 500. So like tissue healing or musculoskeletal issues or gut issues or even neurological issues. The BPC and the TV 500 is super, super powerful for a lot of like unexplained neurological cases. So think about those things as people are talking about issues coming on. Is it tissue based? Is it musculoskeletal based? Is it tendon, cartilage based? Is it gut inflammation based? Is it neurological? Your best default is going to be that BPC and that TV 500.
Perfect. Okay, so all right, for someone on a GLP-1, what is the next best peptide to add in? NAD or glutathione? From a clinical standpoint, how do you determine which is best to start with?
Best is based upon goals. So best is based upon goals. If you're looking to add more energy into the system, NAD. If you're looking to increase detoxification, skin brightness, then that's going to be more your glutathione. the way I think of it is once you're on that GLP and you're going into this calorie deficit state, we're losing a substantial amount of weight. My next goal of best is I want to start to ramp up the metabolism. So I'm actually looking more towards the growth hormone secretagogue. So I'm leaning more towards sermorlin in my mind is like the best without specifically knowing that person's goal. So again, it really just depends on your goal, what best is. And the nice thing about peptides, there really is no, you really can't go wrong a lot of times because you're still getting data of how your body is responding to that. And again, peptides are working on underlying issues or systems, not just symptoms. So we're not just going for symptom relief whenever we're trying to add the next best peptide in because these peptides are helping with over 500 gene expressions. So you really can't go, that's what's nice. Again, you really can't go wrong with what the best is. Again, think about it this way. If you're looking to ramp up metabolism, add lean muscle mass, improve hormonal profiles, think your growth hormone secretagogues, think sermorelin. If you're looking for more detoxification, more bright skin, think glutathione. If your goal is you have a little bit of brain fog, need a little bit more energy, a little bit more pick me up, a little bit more body energy, think NAD. If you're like, oh, I have some musculoskeletal issues, I have some aches, I have some aches in the morning when I wake up, think BPC 157. So that's again how you're going to categorize what is best for you. But me personally, again, after going in that calorie deficit state, I want to kind of ramp up that metabolism because otherwise you kind of like pigeonhole yourself after a while and then you become a quote unquote non-responder to the GLPs.
Right. That's what I've found too. I found that's my favorite stack together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, all right. The menopause symptoms, what should they stack?
Level one is going to be your growth hormone secretagogue. Level two is going to be the sermorelin plus the BPC 157 because again, those two amplify each other. So the sermorelin will help the body to release the growth hormone. The BPC upregulates angiogenesis, so we're getting more blood flow throughout the entire body. Plus, it's increasing the amount of growth hormone receptors, so it's amplifying that sermorelin. And then the last one that I would add in there, if someone is able to do that, microdosing of the GLP. That's going to deal with probably north of 70% of those symptoms. Just those three in and of itself.
Perfect. All right. So trying to gain more muscle and better intensity for workouts and recovery, what would you stack?
That's going to be your growth hormone secretagogue plus that BPC because again, sermorelin is going to increase growth hormone, so it's going to help your body put on more lean muscle mass. So that's in terms of like the intensity, but now we got to recover. So that's where the BPC comes in because again, that helps with muscle recovery, fortifying the ligaments, the tendons, so that you can go harder that next exercise. And then again, those two just kind of potentiate each other in terms of their feedback loop system. You got more growth hormone and you got more growth hormone receptors. And because you have more growth hormone receptors, you have more androgen receptors, which is activated by testosterone. So it's like a whole like bodybuilding feedback loop system right there.
Love it. Okay, so autoimmune issues want to decrease inflammation so that their autoimmune is better.
Autoimmune cases, I'm typically microdosing a GLP and then I'm adding in the BPC and the TB500 because again, they're both going to decrease inflammation. Typically with the autoimmune case, you have tissue destruction going on because the body's attacking itself. So it's going to help repair that tissue destruction. And then that TB500 helps to start to balance that immune system. It's not the most powerful immune modulator, but it will definitely help. Another one that you can add in there too, because I forgot that we released it, the GHKCU.
Right.
HKCU is also another one that you can add in there with that autoimmune case. So GLP, BPC, TB, GHK would be like that final stack.
Would the BPC 157 and the GHKCU be an amazing peptide stack for like the glow?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, there's a stack there's a
yeah,
stack
it's called the glow, but we're not calling it that.
Yeah.
But it's really popular out there if you haven't heard of it. So they call it the glow. So that those two stacked together would be great for, you were talking about like for skin
Mhm.
and
Well, it is good for skin, but if you're pairing it with BPC and TB, think again more wound healing, more musculoskeletal, because it is decreasing the overall inflammation. The skin will look better, but if you're looking for more like skin collagen production, skin tightness, you're better pairing that with the growth hormone secretagogue and the GHKCU. You're actually better pairing it with that if you're more skin.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how about, so someone's struggling, they have hypothyroidism, they're struggling with weight and low energy. They're currently taking the Wolverine stack and a GLP-1 for weight loss, but their goal is to support their thyroid function, energy levels, and weight regulation.
I would say again, the next one for them is that growth hormone one. I like that growth. I like it for so many different conditions. It's going to help more regulate that overactive thyroid than the other ones. I mean, you can do NAD, you can do glutathione, you can do GHKCU, but again, you just get more bang for your buck with the growth hormone versus the other ones.
Okay, perfect. All right. So next one is 45 plus and experiencing loose skin and wrinkles after weight loss. Currently taking a GLP-1 and glutathione. What would be something that can improve my skin and collagen production?
Yeah. So that in that case, where it's more extreme after the weight loss, I would add in the sermorlin plus that GHKCU. That's going to be your best combo because they both work on the collagen matrix. The GHKCU is going to help more with like the tightening of it in the loose skin. The growth hormone is going to help the body put on muscle, so that's going to also help kind of with the loose with the where the loose skin sits as well too. So they're both working on it from different angles, and that's where you're going to see the best results with that in terms of after like that weight loss.
Okay. What about someone who has been on a GLP-1, they've lost weight, they only have about 10 pounds to lose?
Yeah.
What would be your peptide that you would stack now with that?
So when it comes down to 10 pounds, you're really not a good candidate for the GLPs at that point. I would switch someone off of the GLPs and onto the BPC TV 500 and the growth hormone secretagogue because now is actually like a time to build. Because if you get that person to lose that 10 pounds of weight with that GLP, the problem is they're going to rebound because that 5 to 10 pounds flux, you're going to see more like that rebound effect as opposed to if you're at that like 10-pound place where you got to lose by ramping up your metabolism and building more muscle, you're going to maintain that a lot easier because you're creating a new set point of where your body's at in terms of metabolism. So now you got this new set point of where you've lost this 10 pounds of body fat, but you've added on some muscle, you increase your metabolism. So you have like, you're like a whole new creature at that point.
Love it. Okay. So, someone with PCOS, insulin resistance, struggling to lose weight, even on a GLP-1.
Yeah, that's such a loaded,
I know.
loaded question. All right, so default again, growth hormone secretagogues. We need to balance the hormones. We need to upregulate metabolism. We need to support muscle mass. It's so tricky because I don't know why they're having a hard time losing weight. There's
Right.
so many different scenarios for that. But I would say troubleshoot 1, growth hormone secretagogue. Troubleshoot 2, add in that BPC and that TB500 because then it's going to potentiate that growth hormone secretagogue. And then we've also added in other levers so we don't have to continue to crank up the GLP. And without knowing these person's labs, the GLP is still working. Just because you're not losing weight yet doesn't mean that it's fixing other issues. It could be fixing a kidney issue, it could be fixing a heart issue, it could be fixing a pancreas issue. Your body's hardware is probably just not in the place to where it can actually feel safe to lose that weight yet. But I guarantee if that person had a baseline blood work and then they checked it again, no, they won't be offering bioregulators. I know that. It's still working. I guarantee if that person did another blood lab, their blood levels would look better.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's what I would encourage them is check that too.
All right. So someone is dealing with declining with libido issues, currently taking sermorlin. What would you stack that with?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's okay. They're dealing with libido issues.
Yeah. Okay.
They're currently on sermorlin. What would you stack that with?
So, and it's not improving?
No, it's not improving.
I mean, I would go to the BPC and TB500 next, but then I would also add in that PT141 3 times a week, just as they're allowing their system to heal. Again, I don't know enough about this patient. I don't know enough about what's going on, but like that would be the troubleshoot of how I would go through that one.
Okay. All right. So taking a GLP-1, but feeling very fatigued, what would you stack with that?
If they're feeling very fatigued?
Yes.
On the GLP?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, NAD is a good one to start in the beginning if you're feeling pretty fatigued on the GLP. That would be one that I would recommend. And then again, the other one I would recommend is the growth hormone secretagogue. So you can interchange in between both those two. Again, I don't know enough information of why that person's feeling fatigued. Is it because they're just in a low calorie state? Is it they're just not reacting well to the GLP and maybe they need to break it up into 2 days a week instead of 1 day a week because it's too much on their system? There's just so many nuances with these.
Right. Right.
But that's kind of like how I would work through it. I would work through it, add NAD first, see if that improves it. That doesn't improve it, add the growth hormone secretagogue. If that doesn't improve it, my third layer I would split up that GLP dosing.
Okay. And then when you say split up that dosing, would you say like doing it like a Monday and a Thursday example?
Yeah, cut it in half,
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Thursday.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't know why they don't do that now anyways, because if you think about it, when's the hardest day to stay on your diet?
Yeah.
Probably the weekends.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't give people a dose on Thursday to get you over the week.
Well, that's what I personally do. I do Monday and Thursday for clients.
I mean, I'm talking about a lot of these clinics.
Right. Yeah.
They don't. Yeah.
Right.
None of those doctors take it. None of them take it. They don't do this.
Right. Well, yeah, because you start to feel they're like, all right, it's coming on Thursday. We're getting into the weekend here and starting. That's when everyone falls off. Okay, so gaining that
fall off, that extra dose can help buffer some of that fall off too.
Oh yeah, really quiet that food noise.
BPC is great for like, let's say you have to take NSAIDs. It actually protects your liver from the NSAIDs. Let's say you're going to go out drinking. It protects the liver from the alcohol too. So I know if I'm going to have a couple drinks, I'll actually like double my dose.
Of the do you say the Wolverine
stack? The Wolverine stack. I'll do like a pre and post. I'll do a pre and post injection.
That's a good one. Okay, so gaining belly fat and losing muscle, but
Mhm.
I don't want to take hormones. Currently on a GLP-1.
Mhm. So she's gaining.
That they're gateway. So wait, let me review that. Let me take that question back. But they're wanting to boost natural testosterone and support fat loss.
So they don't want to take testosterone?
They don't want to take testosterone.
This is a female or male?
This is a male.
Okay. Well, the growth hormone secretagogue, and again, the BPC is going to be their best option in improving their hormone profile because again, the more growth hormone and the more growth hormone receptors, the more androgen receptors. So if this person is hypothetically low testosterone, we're going to have more receptors. So that little bit of testosterone, we're going to be able to squeeze a lot more out of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a typical stack for most males that don't want to go on testosterone.
Is okay. That's a good one to know. All right, we already did this one. 40 plus and struggling with energy and joint pain. Currently on a GLP-1.
Mhm. Yeah, joint pain's easy one. Again, joints, musculoskeletal issues, BPC 157, because it's going to take care of like musculoskeletal issues, but also if that joint pain is related to arthritis, the
Mhm.
BPC TB combo, again, because we're addressing the inflammation and balancing the immune system, it helps with arthritic issues as well, too.
Perfect. Let me
And you
see.
could also add in a little bit of glutathione as well, too, if their body's struggling with detox system. So tier one would be add the BPC TV 500. Tier two would be adding in that glutathione.
Okay. And let me see if any of these like are different.
I love all these questions. My brain's like working so
I
much.
know. We're starting you off early in the morning.
No, I'm
This
like
is
trying
still
to
early
answer
for
it.
me
I'm
too.
like trying to answer it too within the limited range of stuff that I can work with because I've seen people ask about like bioregulators and all these other things that I can talk about, but they're just
Right. I know I trust me, I know it's a very hard one. Okay, this is one we haven't answered for it. Recently stopped birth control, gaining weight and struggling with sleep. Tried a GLP-1, not noticing a difference. Want to help with belly fat and insulin resistance.
I mean, I would say continues with that GLP again, coming off the birth control. You got to restart your whole growth hormone system. So we got to get her on the sermorlin. Again, that can improve levels of stage 4 sleep. So with a person like that, I would dose them heavier. For example, I know your guys' dosing schedule is different, but I'm just going to tell you like how I would dose it. I would dose it twice a day, 5 days, 5 days on, 2 days off. You got to get that. You got to
AM,
get
PM.
AM and PM because you got to get that person. You got to reset that circadian rhythm. So you got to set these stops in time.
Mhm.
So stop in time is at night. It's going to get more growth hormone. It's going to help with the sleep. And then in the morning, it's going to jumpstart that growth hormone production. So we're going to help more with like the weight loss, the belly fat, we're setting the tone for the day with doing that first thing in the morning, but we're improving the sleep by doing it at night. That's the first step that I would go with that one.
Right. Perfect. All right. Let me see if anyone has a question here. It was hard for me to some states, not others. Common common. I know.
Great. Sleep that I don't think it would do that if you took it in the AM.
I'm not curling around. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is how these things work. If you take it at night, it does make you sleepy, but if you take it in the morning, it boosts you with energy. So these hormones work very differently depending on like the time of day.
I take mine in a fasted state in the morning and then also at night. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, All right. So I don't know if there's any. All right. So question is, so we can, and we'll end this here, but why do you feel that it's important to stack peptides, just not to rely on one? I know you and I both take lots of different peptides. Why do you feel that it's important for people to have the understanding of to why these peptides work so great together?
Mhm. I mean, from a practical reason, you're just leaving a lot on the table if you just take one peptide. Because one peptide in and of itself, again, even though it's affecting so many different gene expressions, we can get a lot more out of it by pairing it with other complementary peptides. Again, I was saying if we're trying to improve the hormone profile, you're going to do like the sermorlin with that BPC 157 because they amplify each other. If we're doing more wound healing, we're going to pair that with the GHK BPC because it amplifies that wound healing potential. So I just think you're doing a disservice if you don't add more than one together because people have a lot of complex issues going on. And I had to answer a lot of questions based off of very limited information.
Exactly.
And when you have very limited information, the more systems I can hit right off the bat, the greater ability I have of hitting the target.
Right.
So I want to give that person the best chance. And again, I'm not doing them a disservice by them adding on another peptide. I'm actually making them feel better. Like they're going to get to their goal faster. We're going to get rid of more quote unquote symptoms faster for them. And really, these are how these things work best hand in hand. They don't work, they work well as single components, but they really work best when when you're pairing them with multiple different things, whether it's a couple different peptides together, or even like they said, the bioregulators, or even just like your lifestyle. You just don't want to leave things on the table because you're only getting a small fraction that you're squeezing out of it. And it's like, well, you're already investing the money in it, so you might as well invest some time into it as well, too.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important because I don't think people have the understanding sometimes of why, it's
Well,
just, oh, that word that they might feel that are on here like they're like, upselling people, but they're actually really helping
no,
people to get the results that everybody's actually really wanting and kind of sometimes speeding up those results too.
yeah, it's honestly not an upsell at all. I think the mindset is a couple things. So in Western medicine, you're given a pill for every ill. So
Right.
if I'm a doctor, if I give you a statin and then I'm like, oh, let me upsell you on this for your this. That's a upsell because you're
Right.
really doing that person a disservice. Again, peptides are naturally occurring substances that the body recognizes and knows what to do with. So that's the great thing is you really can't go wrong when you add one of these in because it's going to improve a system within
Right.
your overall body. So
Hmm.
adding a couple of these together, and again, these things work in synergy, in harmony, it brings the body more into like that homeostatic balance. And again, this is what most people are concerned about. They're concerned about is one, how long is it going to take me to feel better?
Right.
You can add one, two, three peptides and literally decrease that time. That almost negates the cost because, like, you need to calculate your time in money. Like, what's your
Hmm.
time worth? What is
Right.
it like to be able to get back your life in 3 to 6 months? What is that worth?
Hmm.
Think about it in those ways to be able to have your life back, to be able to have energy, vitality,
Hmm.
levels of sleep, high cognitive function. Like, what would someone pay for that? If you could be like, hey, I got this natural substance with almost like a non existent profile of side effects, which again is crazy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
very, very crazy to even like say that because I get asked those questions all the day. Well, what's the contraindications? What are the side effects? What are the negatives to this? Negatives, you're probably going to sleep better, have better sex drive, you're going to lose weight.
Right.
Like, what are you talking,
Right.
what are you
Right.
talking about? So again, don't look at it as like an upsell. It's like these things work in harmony. They work synergistically, and they don't work in a vacuum. They hit the whole body. So again, my default a lot of times is I'll use a growth hormone peptide plus that BPC 157 because I already hit so many systems.
Mm-hmm.
That allows it to do is it allows the system to calm down. So just like a jar of sand, it gets shaken up. It allows that jar of sand to settle and me to see like through that water what is left going on with that patient. But without allowing me to get all these like crazy things to settle, it's like, yeah, I don't know what the heck to do with you. So
Right.
that's the power of stacking these is it just helps the body to balance faster and we can get to more like the weird residual symptoms that people are having and a lot of the noise to calm down. It just calms down the noise or the static and it starts to you can see a little bit more clear through that patient.
I love that. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know it was super helpful for a lot of people. I know it was thrown at you a lot of different stuff, and I know how hard it is to be able to do that without knowing. Trust me, I know without the background, without looking at
Yeah.
someone's
But
blood.
think of it again, think of it when you're talking to people, think of it in like tiered situations and trying to meet people where they're at. Like, okay, what's the primary action of this one? All
Mhm.
right, this is like phase one for them. Okay, if we don't see any response there, this is the one that I can add in for this. Is it more hormonal? Is it more musculoskeletal? Is it more gut? Is it more this? That's
Mhm.
like your check chart. Okay, I added that one in. All right, we got a little bit better with that. Do we need to increase energy? NAD? Do we need to increase detoxification? Glutathione?
Mhm.
So like kind of look at those and again, don't feel like you have to throw everything, but give different levels.
Mhm.
Gold standard, silver, bronze, and then allow the
Right.
person to choose from there.
Perfect. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being on. And I know that this is going to help so many people too. So I appreciate you. And everyone have a great Monday.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I'll work on the background.
You're what?
I'll work on my background. People don't like my plain white background.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't ever care. I
You're
only have my
good,
background
Dr.
for
Wagner. You're good. We're just teasing you.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, I hope you guys this was helpful, and then let me know what else you guys need. Like I said, I'm always working with Honey on getting you guys the best peptides to help your guys' patients in terms of like how we're rolling it out. So I
We
don't.
we really, really, really appreciate you. So just so you know that.
Perfect,
All
perfect.
right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.